Hello all, and welcome to another lazy Friday afternoon beer review. Being very, very lazy and yeah, had to go and close that. So like I said, this old camera mic, it seems to always think that it's not recording, but the last two times it said that, it's not detecting any sound. It seemed to record the sound anyway. So yeah. Anyways, where was I? Where was I? Yes. Welcome to another lazy Friday afternoon beer review, where we will be reviewing a viewer request. I think I've only done this like one or two times. It happens so rarely. Other than like, my dad or one of his friends or, or somebody else giving me something to review. This one I actually purchased with my own money because it was requested by someone who happens to live in France. And they wanted me to review this very popular beer, Duvel, 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 Du I don't know French, how to pronounce French anyways. I can read a little bit, but because I was really, when I was a teenager, I really had a kick into French poetry, Arthur Rimbaud and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I taught myself to read a little bit, but I still can't understand it being spoken at all. But yeah. So this is a Belgian strong pale ale, 8.5 ABV. The date on this is 03/2024, which is I believe the best buy date. And yeah, so it says here 40 degrees, which is kind of on the cold side, but it's really hot out right now, even though it's afternoon. And let's see here, Friday, 5 in the afternoon. What's the temperature right now? The temperature is 82 degrees in the shade, not counting humidity index, of course. So, um, yeah, slow brewed to perfection, specialty beer, the original Belgian strong. Okay, I'm going to read the back now, which is in really tiny print. My aging eyes suffer. Refreshing and golden like a Pilsner, but with the flavor, depth, and complexity of an ale, this Belgian favorite has been brewed by four generations of the Moortgat family. Enjoy chilled, 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with discerning friends are good-looking strangers. Well, all my discerning friends are thousands of miles away, and I'm so poor that there's no good-looking strangers around me. No, just suspicious fools. Anyways, I forgot to mention the name of the person who requested this review. His name is Ryanek. Like I said, he's in France, though I don't believe he's actually of French ethnicity. Um, and I was talking with him a little bit in the chat box of YouTube, and he was talking about how easy it is because he requested a bunch of Belgian beers, well, two actually. This is the only one I can find. Belgian beers are very difficult to come by in Hawaii and very expensive. This cost about $14 for this bottle here. So pretty expensive. And he wished that there was more IPAs about in France. They're not particularly popular as a beer style in France. And he was talking about the hoppy and piney, rhapsodizing over that, and I said, well, there's a lot of IPAs, but it seems like it's transitioned away from the old school hoppy and piney, where there's only a few flagships that are like that, to big old fruit everywhere. Big old fruit shake milk, fruit shake, haze bombs, hazy boy things, tropical. So yeah, this is as strong as an IPA though. At 8.5, yeah, that's like imperial strength almost when you're talking in regards to ABVs in IPAs. But without much further ado, let's go and open this up. I'd like to preface this by saying that I thought I reviewed this, but apparently I never have. I know I've had it maybe once or twice before. And yeah, so looking forward to reviewing this. This is not something that I'm very well acquainted with. If I'm going to go Belgian, I usually go with one of the Trappist ales, or an American recreation of a Belgian style, because those are cheaper than actual Belgian beers made in Belgium. This is a Belgian beer made in Belgium, the Flat Country, home of Jacques Brel. Or in the case of relation to Hawaiian history, Father Damien de Veuster, the saint, um, went and took care of the lepers here in Hawaii in the 1800s, and for that he was canonized. So he's the most famous Belgian in Hawaii. And I think I mentioned it before, because a lot of local brewers, when they make a Belgian-style beer, usually name it after Father Damien. And some might think, oh, that's a little bit, blasphemous, but in his letters, Damien would write how much he missed the beers of his homeland. So, I think it's kind of apropos. Okay, so let's open this up. And yes, this is all I'm drinking tonight. Okay, wow, this is really well carbonated. I don't know why my voice cracks so much now. It's really bad for my job, because I have to go and speak to a lot of people. So when my voice cracks like I'm 14 years old, I have no idea how to recover from that. Okay. Maybe the tulip wasn't the best bet, but yeah, look at that. Very, excuse me, very, very well carbonated. A pale yellow, slightly hazy, with a big, fluffy, white head. Mmm. Yeah, wow. Kind of hard to get a good nosing, because it's, not trapped in the glass. It's kind of floating above the glass, as you can see here. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of grassy, herbaceous hopping. Some Belgian yeast, but the Belgian yeast is actually fairly muted. There is a slight funkiness to it, and also a slight dankness to this beer. All in all, somewhat muted, but that's because I think I have so much head, and the head is not really dissipating. It's just kind of creating this little moonscape on the top here. I'm going to blow off a little bit of it. Okay, there we go. Yeah. This is the first time I've ever had like a Belgian-style Belgian that has dankness as part of the bouquet. But other than that, fairly traditional hopping there in the nose. Grassiness, kind of herbaceousness. And underneath, it's so strange, because I'm so used to having the Belgian yeast part being the predominant note, with the malts and the hopping playing second fiddle, that you know, it it's really quite interesting. Yeah, I almost want to just blow it off onto the floor, but I have to go and clean the floor after if I blow it off onto the floor, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, yeah, onto the palate now, shall we? If we can get to the palate. Hmm. There's initial hop bitterness that's very well balanced by the malt body. So you get that malty sweetness, but it's so well balanced by the hops that it doesn't come off as cloying, which some of the weaker Belgians sometimes do. In the finish, there is a lasting hop bitterness on the palate. It's not like an IPA hop bitterness. It's much more subtle. There's some chewiness to the body, but overall, very it hides its alcohol very well. You know, it doesn't feel like an 8.5. You know, the phenolic notes are there. You know, those sort of that distinctive Belgian yeast, but it's not so much on the palate. Hops dominate on the palate, and the cloves kind of the yeastiness kind of shows up as a slight banana clove note in the top note. Where it has some interplay with that sort of um, grassy, herbaceous to floral hopping. It's almost like it's reversed in some respects from a lot of Belgian beers I've had before, even strong Belgian pale ales. The phenolic yeast notes are much more apparent. You know, this one it seems reversed. The hopping is definitely primary, followed by the malting, and then the yeast. And all of them are there and detectable. So it warms up, that sweetness is expanding, but still not coming anywhere near cloying, you know. It's not it's not sticky on the palate. It's making some nice lacing on the glass. Mm. This is an enjoyable beer. For me, the novelty is kind of coming from this inversion of a lot of typical Belgian beers I've had, where hops are basically, you know, third fiddle. and yeast is on top. This one is, well, I think I mentioned that already. Again, it is nowhere near like IPA strength, and it's not like so bitter that it'll slap you upside the head. But yeah, this one definitely is hoppy. And still get those kind of sweet, candied like malt notes and that sort of phenolic yeast, mostly residing in the top note, but as it's warming up, showing up a little bit on the palate as well. Yeah, and sneaking up on my brain as we speak. Look at that. I mean, this head is so thick and frothy. I've never seen a head like this before. It looks more like a meringue on the top of the glass than foam, because it's got like contours and textures here. That's how thick the foam is. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to express itself very well. It's holding in all those nice aromatics so well because it's not popping, you know. But it is very interesting to look at. I have to say that I've never seen beer foam that looks more like a meringue than anything else. So with the best buy date of 03/2024, I am kind of assuming that this beer is fairly freshly made for one that's been literally imported halfway across the world. I almost wonder what it would be like aged a little bit, just so that hop bitterness recedes a little bit. Unfortunately, it would also mean that the aromatics of the hops would, you know, decline first, because the hop aromatics decline before the actual bitterness, the alpha oils that create bitterness on the palate do. Yeah, as it's warming up, that yeast is showing up more and more. Clove, banana. If it wasn't so, balanced out by the hop bitterness, it would definitely take on that sort of banana bread aspect a lot of Belgian beers do. But that hoppiness, man, while it doesn't clear the palate, it remains there. A long finish. Look at that. It's not lacing. It's literally like chunks of foam clinging to the side of half the glass here. Wow. Oopsie. Cap fell off. Oh well. Duvel. Well, definitely one that is a check-in amongst Belgian beers. Like I said, if you can find this in Hawaii, You can probably find it anywhere in the first world. You know, Belgian beers are not very well distributed in Hawaii. There is a shelf of maybe about 9 to 10 of them in Tamura's. Same with Whole Foods. There's slight, you know, they vary slightly, but they're not exceedingly well distributed. I know this one is, and you know, drinking it for a review has made me realize, wow, this is a really interesting beer. Very well made. All the flavors nicely distinct. Just in a different order than I am used to for most Belgian beers. Yeah, and it's getting to my brain now. So look at that, just old chunks of lace now. Yeah, definitely a must try. Thanks again to Ryan Eck for suggesting this one. You know, it's more, the single bottle is more expensive than a 6-pack of craft beer is in Hawaii, but damn do I believe that this one is well worth it. So that is your beer review for this afternoon, folks. I'm going to watch YouTube videos and then make dinner. What's for dinner? I think like sweet potato curry or something. Cheers.